Comcast pulled the plug on G4TV for good this time. Is it really a surprise to anybody? No. But can a lesson be learned from this by the gaming industry in general, by the people involved, and just all around? Yes. But does that mean that they are all learning this lesson? No, some people are still doubling down. But let's go ahead and dive into this video because I've got a lot to talk about today. So let's do this. All right, so first we have this article here that's just saying, hey, you know, G4 has been shut down less than a year after it launched, blah, blah, blah. Now here is the official letter here, which I'll read that. This is from Comcast CEO Dave Scott. So he said, team, as you know, G4 was reintroduced last year to tap into the popularity of gaming. Scott wrote, we invested to create the new G4 as an online and TV destination for fans to be entertained, be inspired, and connect with gaming content. Over the past several months, we worked hard to generate that interest in G4, but viewership is low and the network has not achieved sustainable financial results. This is certainly not what we hoped for, and as a result, we have made the very difficult decision to discontinue G4's operations effective immediately. I know this is disappointing news, and I'm disappointed too. I want to thank you and everyone on the G4 team for the hard work and commitment on the network. Our human resources team is reaching out to you to provide you with support, discuss other opportunities that may be available, and answer any questions you may have. This should have been an email before they posted it on social media. Like, give it a business day, right? But that didn't happen. Unfortunately, we see Gerard, the completionist here, replies to this tweet and says, hey, this tweet is how I found out how I lost my job. How neat. Which is sad. This is terrible. What's unfortunate about this situation is the crossfire. Okay, the people who are affected, who were not at fault here, because we all know the biggest reason and the biggest thing that really made G4 start to go downhill was that infamous Frost rant, hating on their audience, calling their audience sexist. You don't want to do that. You don't want to attack your audience if you expect to thrive. So that's clearly, and that's obviously not the only reason. I think that had they made interesting and entertaining programming, they could have still recovered from that. But ultimately, when you attack your audience, when the network supports it, they're tweeting it, acting all loud and proud about it. Oh yeah, we back her up on this. Then that definitely didn't get things off to a good start. But unfortunately, I do think that a lot of people were hurt in this scenario who didn't deserve it. And I hate to see it. Obviously, I don't know anybody extremely well who was a part of this, but I know people like Gerard the completionist enough to and see enough of his content to know the dude's genuinely passionate about gaming and actually seems like a cool guy. And he's a chill guy. And so it's unfortunate to see gamers like him who are genuinely passionate about the space have to suffer the consequences from this. Same with Gina Darling. I think she was fine. You know, and there's probably a lot more people involved behind the scenes who unfortunately lost their jobs and didn't deserve it. But some people are doubling down and blaming the audience again because they didn't get the picture the first time. That's not a smart move to make. So Lied made this tweet here. He says, well, this guy just got fired and thought that the best thing to do in this situation would be to complain about my incels. Okay, so I don't know who this is, and I'm not condoning anybody go after this guy's tweets or anything like that, but I will read what they say. This guy's named Ryan. He says, my time at G4TV ends during lunchtime on a Sunday. Wish the best, especially for full-time coworkers and friends. Okay, that's fair. That's good. Okay. Then he says, unfortunate that this will be tied to right-wing incels complaining about wokeness being the downfall of a network which pursued content in the age of shorts and Twitch. Okay. So that's where you really you're really gonna go there. Okay. Gonna blame incels, blame right wingers And then also say, oh yeah, well, the real reason so basically what this reads as is, that's not the reason why we failed. We don't need to take any sort of accountability for what was said and the fact that our actual viewer base was attacked and called right-wing incels, basically. Oh, so he's doing what already caused the issue in the first place. But then he's saying the real issue is because shorts and Twitch. That's the real reason. Okay. Then he goes, by the way, it isn't wokeness that killed a failing millennial-focused gaming network. So please keep your incel complaints on the internet, on how the internet is soft, to your 2012 Gamergate area. We do not care about you being bigoted in a COD lobby in 2011. You're crying about humans being normal, huh? Salty much? And I think this is one reason why a lot of people are celebrating the downfall of G4 is because of this attitude. And, you know, do I blame them? No. I have a hard time myself celebrating just because I know that there are good people involved. And I'm a softie. I know a lot of people don't see that, because I will, when I do share my opinions on the internet, I ain't gonna like be a pushover about it. If people get offended, hey, it's my Twitter, I can say my opinions on it. But no, I actually, one thing I don't like to do is to come after people individually, and it's hard for me to celebrate when people are down. You know what I mean? So that's why I have a hard time. In this kind of case, do I feel sorry for this guy? No. Because of how his attitude is, this isn't a lesson that he is able to learn from. There's nothing he can take away from this. He's still being combative. He's probably going to have to learn this lesson again over and over. Because what people aren't realizing is that whenever you do prioritize this woke narrative and you do prioritize all of this social justice and hating on people who are actually your audience and hating on them for just being gamers, for smack talking in a COD lobby, this, that, and the other, and acting like they're terrible human beings and all this stuff, then yeah, this is going to happen. This is just, that's it. Not a smart move. So I feel bad for everybody who was genuine in this situation, but this is how it is. And it's not shorts and Twitch. There's plenty of people who are thriving on YouTube. I do think that in terms of an actual gaming network TV show, I do think the hard thing about that is whenever it does need to be politically correct, and in this case it definitely did. I'm not going to say wokeness is the only thing that killed it, but I am going to say it probably was the nail in the coffin there. But you see, for a reason why a lot of people follow influencers, and they follow in the gaming space or in anything, why they're choosing to watch YouTubers and influencers in general as opposed to professional networks. And that's because there is an authenticity, at least a perceived authenticity, because not every single creator is authentic, right? But there is at least a perceived authenticity there. And when someone is speaking on behalf of just themselves and not a brand, then there's a lot more freedom that comes with that. And I mean, y'all see that just in my own content, and I'm an example of this. Whenever I hosted for GameStop TV, and I'm talking about games, my job there as a GameStop TV host was to sell games. So that obviously was not the place where I'm going to be sharing my honest opinions about my complaints about games, you know, because that wasn't the job description. This is still G4 is different in that sense that they're not selling games, but there still is a professionalism element to it, and there's still a lot less of a voice that people can have in fear of being shut down by the mob. You got to deal with a bunch of the woke politics and stuff like that as well when you hire a bunch of people who are on that side. And this is a reason why G4 should have been they should have cared more about giving their host freedom to share their honest opinions about stuff, about games, and also truly hire diverse set of hosts. Don't hire a set of hosts that only follow one ideology. Part of diversity is diversity of thought. And so when you're only hiring people that, okay, every single one of these people are politically correct, they hit these check boxes for us, you know, that we got feminists on board, we got this, that, and the other, then yeah, I mean, What do you expect? You're not gonna, you're not getting that. Gamers aren't feeling, and you want to talk about representation. Gamers don't feel represented just because someone on screen may look like them. Gamers are more likely to feel represented if they can latch on to a host or somebody whose opinions that they like or that they respect. They don't even have to necessarily agree with all of their opinions, but that they can at least respect. And so I think when it comes to any type of media, any type of television, movies, all this kind of stuff, people are so obsessed about representation only being a physical thing when human beings that aren't narcissists don't give a crap about that. What we care about is people who we can respect and who we, okay, that's either, I agree with that person. This person has good taste in games. I will believe anything they say. I'm going to really not necessarily believe anything they say in general, but if they like a game, that makes me want to check it out. That type of thing. Or you could even say, hey, I really like how this host will break down this specific genre of games and their input on it. I may not always agree with it, but they definitely are well versed in what they're talking about, and I can respect their perspective, that sort of thing. That's the kind of representation we actually need, not anything surface level like, I have to see a woman on screen or I won't feel represented. That sort of thing is absurd. But yeah, so maybe next time don't attack your viewer base. Don't call your viewer base terrible people. And quite frankly, if you do agree and if you do have this kind of outlook that your viewer base are all right-wing incels, then why do you want to be in a job that is dependent on them to pay your bills? Probably not the smartest move there, but okay. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I'll catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.